third level has a warp zone at the beginning. Do your mega jump to get up here and use the potion to slip into the jar to World 7. Otherwise, run like a motherfucker past all these albatrosses dropping bombs at you. There's 1,001 of them. If you think you might need it, grab this potion right off the bat and book it until you get to the last wall of rubbly rock to get a mushroom. There's actually another one up here if you blow up the 2 walls. The potion is just above it, and don't worry about running out of bombs, they don't stop coming. Down below, there are even more bombs pouring through the seams. So just keep running and kill this panzer with the vegetable because you don't want to be messing around with the bombs. Then make your way down this little labyrinth of sorts. Be careful not to hit the sparks, and plug the small jars with the mushroom blocks to block off the Shy Guys just for the sake of convenience. When you get up higher, these pink panzers will come rolling down the platforms. Use the escape routes on each end of the screen to lure it back and forth until it walks into the pit to give you a nice clear path. During the home stretch, you'll have 2 Pidgeots you can ride, but in all actuality, you only really need 1. Battle a red Birdo, and then it's on to the real boss, the giant crab, Claw Grip. He's seemingly attacking you with huge rocks, but I think he's practicing for the NBA, because sometimes his shots go right into this gap. I think that's what he's aiming for. Don't get too close to him or you'll get hit. Instead, stand back against this wall, wait for his short attacks, and jump onto the rocks and attack. Sometimes they'll come at you low and sometimes high, and that's not counting his Kobe Bryant impression either, so watch out. Stay patient, you don't need to go after every rock, and after 5 hits he's done. The 6th world is a desert, just like the second one. The first level starts out with a lot of quicksand, so be prepared to do a lot of tapping on the A button to keep yourself afloat. Hop into the first jar, grab the potion off the floor, and take it back up to the surface and drop it right after the quicksand ends. The mushroom falls into the quicksand, so be quick with grabbing it. The next potion lies in between all this cacti, but to get to the mushroom you're going to have to take a risk getting by this panzer. Stand on this cactus, wait for the fire shots to stop, and then quickly jump and drop the potion on the roof of this cave. Now if you have 2 more hit points, you can just take a hit and use the recovery time to get across since the mushroom's going to replenish your health anyway. Inside the cave is a short hallway with a shitload of jars, a few snakes, and a locked door at the end. First time playing this game, you're going to be searching your ass off for the key, looking through jar after jar after jar after jar, finding nothing but Shy Guys and a turtle shell. If you go down the first jar with the mushroom block, you'll find a 1-up next to the veggies after digging through some sand. Careful though, there's a snake waiting for you as soon as you pick up the block. The jar right after this snake is the one you want to go in. You'll have to dig for the key and then of course dodge Phanto, but the path isn't all that long. Kill the green Birdo and it's off to the 2nd level. This is one where Luigi's jumping really comes in handy, as most of the entire level is a giant pit with albatrosses flying around that you have to use as platforms. There'll be a gradually higher line of 3 toward the beginning flying left. Ride the top one and then hop onto the one coming from the left and just stay put the rest of the level. The only thing you'll have to do is jump a Bezo, duck a bird or 2, and jump over a stack of 3 birds. You'll need the mega jump for Toad Princess here, which is one of the reasons why Luigi makes things easier. There is a potion in the middle leading to a mushroom, but if you grab it you'll have to ride one of the birds back to the beginning to start over. The Birdo is once again the green variety. Kill him and move on to the final level of the 6th world. Grab the potion you'll find right off the bat and drop it off on the second puny cactus for a mushroom. Then into the cave and prepare to blow apart a few sets of walls. Not many enemies to deal with, just a few explosions. You can get another mushroom if you want by grabbing the first vegetable out of the ground after you blow up the first wall. But first you'll have to blow up the next wall, and then the floor, and then the wall across from it to get to where the mushroom and several coins are. You don't really need to get this though. You climb back up to the surface and run into a shitload of vines infested with hoopsters. It's actually not that hard, just wait for them to get out of the way and move along to the next vine. Aside from a Sniffet or a Shy Guy here and there, it's really the same way all the way up. When you get to the top of this beanstalk, you'll enter a pyramid where a red Birdo guards the crystal ball leading to the boss of the world. But before we get to the boss, here's a shortcut to get by most of this level. At the beginning, walk against this wall, settling into the quicksand until you start going through the wall. Then jump continuously under the wall until you get to the other side where the door will lead you to a hidden area in the clouds just to the right of the pyramid Birdo's in. So after you kill Birdo, it's a rematch with Triclyde. He'll still only take 3 hits, but you don't have nearly half as much room as you did last time. The mushroom blocks cover the floor underneath, so you'll have to go down there to get it. And the platform in the middle is the only place your attacks can reach from, so you'll have to go through the crossfire. First, slide down the gap on the left side and grab a mushroom block over on the right so you're under the fireball attacks. Then hop onto the platform and fire the mushroom block as soon as there's a slight gap between Triclide's attacks. Then go back down and do the same thing 2 more times to take out Triclide and move on to the 7th and final world. The 7th world is way up in the clouds. The ground up here is made up of rocks that are not explosion proof, and coincidentally enough, there are albatrosses dropping bombs all over the place. So be flight of foot and make your way to this little shack and it has a potion and mushroom in it. But you can't advance any farther than this. It turns out you want to ride one of the albatrosses over these towers. So if you don't even want the potion, you can mega jump your way onto one at the beginning. Just be careful getting over the towers and back onto the bird. You'll take a rocket up to another portion of the level where there'll be a ton of Shy Guys and Sniffets and whatnot in this clusterfuck of clouds. It can be tricky here to jockey for position, as you might end up jumping back up a level or something, so if you can get a star from all these cherries, it'll help out your positioning. Otherwise, use enemies against each other to get them out of your way. Later on, there's a shitload of sparks. Right here, you'll need to stack these mushroom blocks to get up to the next cloud. So first order of business here is to take out the sparks with the blocks and then stack them. So be sure to grab the blocks when they're away from the sparks because they're very fast here. Up ahead is a gray Birdo and it's on to the final stage of the game. The castle is right at the beginning pretty much. Just be careful not to let any of these Sniffets get a cheap shot in on you, or you'll have your work cut out for you going into the castle. Upon entering, you'll be on a conveyor belt which goes on to be a pretty consistent nuisance throughout the castle. Another thing is, the castle isn't 100% linear. There are 2 different paths you can choose. Either by going straight ahead or by taking the chain down. You'll encounter a ton of sparks. So either way, you'll be doing a lot of watching and waiting. Timing your movements is everything. I can't really give much more advice than that when dealing with these areas. I'd say going down the chain is probably easier. The sparks don't seem to be as complex. If you go straight ahead, there's a mushroom if you take this door by going up the chain on the left. There'll be a panzer in the middle of the screen, so jump down in between the fireballs to get to the door leading to the potion. The mushroom on the other route is a lot easier to find. It's just another door right along the way, another reason to take this route. Both potions are next to bombs, so be sure to pick up the right one or you might get blown up if your reflexes aren't up to par. When you get to this area, you'll either swing down this chain or open up this door to battle a red Birdo holding a key. Take him out and go through the door. Drop it when Phanto gets too close and bring it over to the locked door. Pick up the crystal ball and... what the fuck? The hawk head came to life? And it's attacking you. So it'll fly around in a pretty predictable pattern, but it's kind of fast, so run under or jump over it when it swoops by you and throw a mushroom block at it. After 3 hits, its mouth will open up, and as fucked up as it might seem to enter a bird's mouth after you kill it, that's what you're gonna do, and now it's on to the final battle with Wart. He stands on this platform spitting a long line of bubbles out of his mouth. You can only hurt him when his mouth is open, and the only way to hurt him is to fire a vegetable that inexplicably pops out of these horns. I don't know why he has all these veggies in his room. Wart hates vegetables. In fact, they seem to poison him if you look at his reaction to eating them. So his attacks will take out the vegetables if they get in the way, so don't get overly aggressive with grabbing the vegetables. Back off if you think you're in danger. It's not worth a hit point for a vegetable. Keep your eyes mainly on the bubbles so you can maneuver your way between them while getting the veggie. And once you get the veggie, you'll have to time your shot right, since when his mouth is open, his bubbles shoot out, which will kill the veggie you might throw at him. So what you need to do is fire right before the bubbles stop pouring out. 6 hits and he's finished. You'll then enter a door, pull the cork out of this jar, and free all the subcons that were trapped and apparently the ones calling for help. Then they honor the 4 main characters and take Wart away and beat the living piss out of him. But wait a minute. Mario was dreaming this entire thing? So was the original dream he had a dream inside a dream? Or was it just the same dream overlapping itself? Well, bottom line is, it was a dream. And I guess it's a pretty good cop-out as to why this universe of Mario characters hardly ever shows up again throughout the franchise. Specifically Wart, who never appears in anything. And look at this cast. They have Birdo and Ostro mixed up with the labels, just as they do in the manual. And they spell Clawgrip's name Clawglip. Oh well. Even though this game is generally perceived as a good game, a lot of people like to give it some crap as the redheaded stepchild of the series because it was never the genuine sequel. But even if that may be true, I still say that it belongs in the series, and I'm glad I got this version as opposed to a more challenging rehash of the original. Not to take anything away from the Japanese sequel. We would end up getting the Japanese Mario 2 on the Super Nintendo's Mario All-Stars game in the Lost Levels mode, but to me this game is still Super Mario Bros. 2. It may not be as innovative as the original or as insanely impressive as the follow-up, but it's still a fun game that holds up well today. And credit to Doki Doki Panic for being the foundation for it. So that wraps up this edition of Aqualung's Game Reviews. See you next time.